Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Lebanon Senior Center Cooking Demo. And this month for January, we are celebrating soup. It's often overlooked, but when you sit down to a great bowl of soup on maybe a winter day or when you're not feeling too good, yeah, it's like everything you need can be in a bowl of soup. So rich in nutrients, and it can just really be customized to what you enjoy. And sometimes I like it because it's kind of a one pot cooking thing. Um, don't usually have all these bowls over here with my ingredients. I won't lie. I usually just chop them up, leave them on the cutting board, and swoosh them in as I go. But for the expediency of not a in-person demo, I have everything ready to go in a small part of my kitchen. Today we're doing a soup a little different. Last week I spent about an hour making one of my family favorites, which is that ham corn potato chowder, largely from scratch, just a very luscious, thick, creamy soup. You can taste the calories. It's great. This week we are going to go with a shortcut soup. I'm revealing a big secret here because I've got some fans of this soup at the senior center, and they think I make it completely from scratch. But come on, my kids were home and I was working. I had to come up with some shortcuts for dinner, and I also think of fun ways to use leftovers. And this soup is one of those. But it all starts with a bag. That's right. Uh, my chicken tortilla soup starts with a mix. Gives me a head start to getting dinner ready on a work night and gives me some nice base flavors. The trick about using an instant soup like this is to not, when you want it to really taste good and make it feel special, don't just use the soup mix. You got to do things to doctor it up, customize it, make it personal, um, and add some flavors in, and add some freshness in to make it come alive. All right. So starting off, we're following directions. We can do that. We're adults. It's been a while since we were in kindergarten, but we can still follow directions. So we are boiling 8 ounces of water. Not 8 ounces. How about 8 cups of water? There we go. 8 cups of water per the package directions. This brand is one I like. It's Bear Creek. I love the Bear Creek soups. One of the other things that might be a deterrent for some seniors is this makes a lot of soup. I don't want to eat all that soup, and I don't blame you. My kids have grown up and moved out, and I find that sometimes I'm cooking for myself. Or heck, when they were home and I was making a soup I liked that maybe they didn't, I could, cheat a little bit and get something in a bag. You don't have to make the whole bag. Break out a measuring spoon, measuring cup. Find out what half of it would be or what a fourth of the mix would be, and then just use a fourth of the water or a half of the water. Do a little math and you can still have something like this. And then instead of it going for one meal, you can roll it up, put it in a baggie and save it, and it'll go, 4 times, 2 times as far, depending how you use it. All right. So after we got our water to a boil, you did see that I opened the bag and tossed it in that water, just using a whisk to make sure that all the powdery goodness for this mix gets distributed. So we don't have any powder lumps, right? That wouldn't taste too good. So for the direction, it pretty much just needs to boil for 15 minutes. Or I should say 10 minutes. Of course, what can you be doing with 10 minutes of your time? Well, in my kitchen, that's where I generally start prepping the things I want to add to the soup. Today, I kind of have them ready at this point already here. So I thought I would talk about some options. I mentioned it's a good way to use leftovers. So if you've got some leftover corn, we can toss that into our bowl. Just add some thickness. And this was roasted corn, so it's going to add you know, kind of that extra texture to it as well, extra flavor. Now, one things I like to add to it, I really like these fire roasted tomatoes. Now you can roast your own tomatoes if you want. A lot of people complain about tin cans having a tinny taste. You know what? It's quick and easy on a work night. So I like to add, you know, some cut tomatoes. You can add cut, stewed, diced. You can add fresh tomatoes, whatever tomatoes you have or that you like. Again, just adding another layer of flavor. I also like to add some garlic. I've got a little minced garlic here that I keep in my fridge. I know this is going to be one of those careful things. You guys know that I measure so well. So I'm going to kind of about 2 tablespoons of garlic. If you're a big garlic fan, you can add a lot more. If you don't like garlic, you can certainly not add any. Other things that you might want to add to put your own spin on it, cumin, smoked paprika, you know, any of those spices that kind of have a little Latin flavor to them would, you know, a little Mexican flair. Alrighty. We are also going to add, wanted to keep it vegetarian, but bump up protein. I like to add in more black beans. Makes it hearty. Beans are also rather inexpensive. So it's a nice way to add some additional protein and fiber. And it's really budget friendly. And we're just gonna, I notice I keep stirring after everything I add in, just trying to incorporate it in. All right, if you don't want to go vegetarian, maybe you've got some leftover chicken. Some you maybe had rotisserie chicken last night, or you bought a rotisserie chicken and you've used it in salad. You ate it when it was new. You're running out of ideas what to do with the rotisserie chicken. Put some of that rotisserie chicken into your soup. Again, extra protein. Just sneak in leftovers, use them up. You'll find it also starts bulking up the soup. And this is where, if you're watching your salt content, prepackaged soups can definitely have a lot of salt in them. So if you add other things, you can start diluting it down. If it starts to get too thick, you can add more water. So sometimes when you're doing something like this and it's just really good, have the treat, have the bowl of soup, but then maybe watch the rest of your salt intake the rest of the day or the next day, just really trying to keep it down to make up for having a treat that has some salt in it. And it just really starts to get luscious and thick. Starting to smell really good too. I know the smell-o-vision thing still isn't a reality. All right, so there's a couple other things I want to talk about adding. And one of those, one of my favorite things to add in is some fresh cut up cilantro. Just chopped up some cilantro here. And I'm going to add a couple of good handfuls. Cilantro is in the parsley family, really good for you. All these green coniferous herbs can add flavor. You want to kind of do it towards the end of cooking. You don't want to add fresh herbs or even dried herbs largely at the very beginning of a cooking process because it can really just cook out the flavor. You know, you can burn and scorch them. They're really delicate. So adding them towards the end of the cooking is a good idea. And you might notice I didn't put them all in there. I did leave some in the bowl. If you want a nice presentation, if you're maybe having someone over for dinner, or just, you know, sometimes we deserve to do something nice for ourselves. So if you're ladling the soup up for yourself in the bowls, you could actually finish with a little bit of the cilantro as well. So that would be really nice. And you get that bright green pop on the top of the bowl. last of the fresh ingredients, a lime. So I like to add a little bit of lime. I feel like the brightness of the lime really just adds that extra pop. It also adds some brightness, so kind of it makes it feel like you're eating something fresh and not something that was prepackaged. So limes are pretty special for that. If you, let's see if I can catch this on camera. Oh, I'm kind of off camera. So what I'm doing is I'm setting the lime on the edge of my counter and I'm just rolling it back and forth. Kind of like I was working a rolling pin. I'm using my lime as a rolling pin. I'm pushing down and rolling it back and forth. The reason I'm doing that is because it's going to help release the juices. Sometimes you get limes and they're really hard. So if you do that, it starts to get squishy. Let's see if I can show you. So I can squish my lime now. So I've released those juices. I've exploded the little membranes that hold the juices in the lime. So you can just kind of see the juice just really wants to escape now. And I'm just going to squeeze it. And if you only like a little, you can do half the lime. If you're, really big into citrus, I am. I'm doing the whole lime. And if you have it backwards in your palm, you can kind of catch those seeds and prevent them from going in your pot. There we go. Get our lime in there. Hopefully you don't have any paper cuts when you do that. All right, so we're going to let this finish cooking down in just a couple more minutes, and we will come back and talk about finishing it off. All right, so we've let our soup finish cooking down. Just going to turn it down to a simmer so it stays nice and hot when some other folks come to get some. I'm going to go ahead and get some of this in a bowl. Let's see if I can show it to you here without spilling it out of the bowl. So that's our soup, our chicken tortilla soup. You can certainly just do tortilla soup and leave the chicken out. Now that we can talk about some things that you can add in or some toppings you can do for your soup. One of the things that you can add in, not too popular in my household, but if you like spicy things in your house, you can certainly add in some sriracha or some hot sauce. If you've got people where some people like it, some people don't, then they can certainly add it in when they put it in their bowl and keep it out of your bowl. As I was talking about earlier, we can certainly add, no, we're going to backtrack. So one of the fun things I like to do is crush up some tortilla chips. So if you've got some tortilla chips hanging out at the house, you can just pulverize them a little bit, just crunch them. Or if you've got, the end of a bag where it's just the crunchy ones that may be a little hard to eat, you can do that. I'm going to jump this. I'm just going to turn it off completely. There we go. So you can put some of those tortilla chips, or they make these really cool crunchy tortilla strips that you can get over in the salad section of the grocery store. Sometimes they come in a rainbow of colors. They're just a lot of fun to add into things. All right, so we got some of the tortilla chips. Of course, a little cheese never steered me wrong. A sour cream or sour cream substitutes optional. Again, these are things you can add if you want to. They are definitely not requirements for the soup. They're just ways that you can make it your own. If you're avoiding some of these things in your diet, or you just don't like them, don't add them. Do things that you enjoy. All right. So this is what mine looks like. Oh, so I added the sour cream and then I did sprinkle it with some of that cilantro we had left over. All right, let's see if we can get the winner shot. Mmm.